Beauty Band, and Jeff, I'm going to invite you to come up here and introduce our new additions here for today.
One time only. On drums, we have Steve, as usual. You know Steve.
Yay!
On bass is Don Sayre. Don. Our flautist is Steve Ross. Guitar, Michelle Fritz. And guitar with a solo last time is Yoshi.
Hi, Yoshi. Thank you, Jeff. Well, and I'm Reverend Sharon Ketchum. Hi, welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing, and welcome to you too that are joining us online. So glad you could be with us today, and we got a special surprise coming up with special music here in a little bit. So if you're here for the first time, I hope you received a light on your way in, because truly you light up our world with your presence, and we wanted to add a little eco-friendly light to yours. Also, we are a prayer ministry. There's a prayer box when you come in the door to put your prayer request, and we have a prayer team that will pray with you for the next 30 days, whether it be about concerns or celebrations. It's just incredible support. And then we involve Silent Unity to pray with you for an additional 30 days. So you are well supported, whatever's going on in your life. Of course, the coffee bar is open, and here we are together. Our mission is to spiritually awaken to our oneness with God, with each other, and all creation. It comes from our vision of seeing a world powerfully transformed through a growing movement of a shared spiritual awakening. For me, shared is the most important word in that statement. Understanding it's not like there's this right and perfect way. You have to find the right answer. One God, but many paths. So let us affirm together. The enlightenment of the Buddha shines within us. The compassion of the Christ moves through us. The power of Jehovah strengthens and guards us. The presence of Allah surrounds and guides us. Wherever we are, the Tao is, and all is God. We're going to bring us all together in consciousness with a beautiful song, an invocation written by Lucille Olson.
Great Spirit, Holy Source of light, let your light shine bright, shine within our hearts and minds so we reflect the purpose of our soul. May your love unfold, and may your peace within our hearts abide. Time now for the lion to lie down with the lambs. May we find the peace of God, the heart of your I am. May true love and meaning every human find. May your light shine brightly forth in every heart and mind. Great Spirit, Holy Source of light, let your light shine bright, illuminating all our lives so we reflect the magnitude of love, below and so above. May love and peace within our hearts abide.
Thank you, Greg. The magic of music. You know, we come from all different experiences, come together in this room, and all of a sudden when we sing together, we become like one. We like to pray here. We pray for our neighbors, and our neighbors are anybody that lives on this planet. And what really struck me this week is we just are really in a place where we could use a lot of relationship healing. Relationship with our planet, these heat waves, the El Nino, all this that's happening, relationship with other humans. There's why do people keep warring around the world, and other living creatures. So really, this morning I'd really like to focus on a prayer for healing and all those different aspects of healing. So let's just take a moment to close our eyes, Take a deep breath and open our hearts. Open our hearts so that we might come together with that same harmony of vibration as we did when we sing together. Acknowledging that very vibration of oneness. One with each other, one with all living creatures, one with our beautiful blue planet. We know the truth that ultimately we are all connected. And in this knowing, we recommit our hearts, our words, our actions to that of kindness, that of respect, that of embracing all that is, to celebrate life in its fullness, in its richness, in its joy. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this experience. And so it is. Amen. In the summer, because we spend time outside in the summer more than we do in winter, I see the tans growing around the room. I came up with a spiritual element blessing, because we were doing the elements for the summer, the kind of basic elements. So let's affirm a blessing for Unity Spiritual Center, which of course is you and I. It's not a building, it's us as people. So let's affirm together. Sacred fire guides Unity Center in every endeavor. Sacred breath expresses throughout our spiritual community, uniting us in peace and harmony. Sacred earth produces a community where lives are blessed and people transformed. Sacred water flows with unlimited abundance through this center and through our lives. For blessings seen and unseen, thank you, God. I'd like to have a little moment of greeting each other at the table, so I'd like to introduce a question. And my question today may cause you to think just a little bit. What's your favorite thing to make with air? Ah, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know. I have left hints on the table. What do you like to make with air? I mean, we make music with air.
Yeah.
Our flautist is air. You'd be really hard pressed without some air. You like to make music, okay? Yeah.
Right, and it's not just singing either, because all sound waves move through the air, right? So that was the one that.
I do like bubbles.
Yeah, bubbles are great too.
Yeah,
It takes me back to
doesn't
childhood. Oh, you only got one? There you go. All right.
There we go. And pinwheels. I remember getting pinwheels as a kid. It fascinated me that you could blow and make them go around.
Those were fun too.
They would look different, you know, and balloons.
Yeah, lots of bubbles.
Oh, yes, we got some bubbles going here. We must have some air in the room.
Should we get our song?
Okay, let's come together.
Okay.
You're welcome to stand up for this. You'd like to get a little movement on. We got a lot of sound going today.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Take a look in the sanctuary. Sorry. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, from every walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship we unite. In honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love.
Good morning. Let me get the right script here. I'm Chris Janson, your platform assistant for today. I feel like I'm... Carol, you're here, all right. Thank you. Unity's daily word is reflection, inspired by Paul's letter to the Corinthians, and all of us seeing the glory of God as though reflected in a mirror are being transformed into the same image from one degree of glory to another. God, the one presence and power in the universe, is expressing through all people, the natural world, and all other aspects of life. If we ever doubt the presence of God, we need only behold the world around us. The light of God is being reflected in the kind words and acts of people, in the beauty and magnificence of nature, and in life's grand rhythms and minuscule movements. We, too, reflect the brilliance of God. Our ideas, dreams, and all we do to make our mark on the world are just some of the ways the divine expresses uniquely as us. Living in our divinity, we bring more of God's light into the world. Let us affirm together. I look. This July, we are focusing on our core value of prayer and its power. Prayer is one of our most useful and practical spiritual tools. Ernest Holmes, founder of Science of Mind, wrote, "One of the chief functions of prayer is to relieve the mind of fear, to permit the deep inner feeling that comes from conscious union with Spirit. Science and religion should walk hand in hand in the accomplishment of this purpose. The activity of prayer is something that can be done by anyone at any time, in any place, to bring us into alignment with love, peace, and harmony. Prayer brings us into alignment with the dynamic qualities of Spirit, love, peace, and harmony. Let us prayerfully affirm together. We acknowledge, celebrate, and practice the power of prayer." And it's now my pleasure to welcome our special guest, John Shaw, for a musical treat.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
All right, Johnny.
Great. It's great to be here at Unity this morning. I'd like to thank Sharon for having me, and I'd like to thank this wonderful, merry band of musicians for accompanying me. I'm a singer-songwriter from Nashville, and I was up in Michigan last night. We did a great fundraiser for the Windwalker over in Charlotte, and it was a really good time. I'd just like to say personally, for me, I've been learning a lot lately, and the big thing I've been learning is to get out of my own way and do stuff like this. So if anybody's thinking about doing something, I'd encourage you, yeah, take the step and do it. I mean, I'm here, so anyway. So I did a rock and roll record, and instead of doing the normal thing, trying to do a normal song, a normal single, get it on the radio, I wanted to try to use music for the good. I wanted to try to use music as an awareness tool. And so the single is a song called Ashley Heavy Runner. I did a lot of thinking, who could I write about, what could I do? And I found out there's something going on in America where a lot of the Native American women are disappearing from where they live, and it doesn't get any media coverage, and it's just a sad thing, you know. I mean, and I decided to write about that, you know. I mean, everybody knows the name of Gabby who went missing, but on the other hand, no one really knows that thousands of girls go missing every year, and it gets no publicity. So I decided to try to use music for the good, and we have a song about it, and we'd like to share it with you now. It's called Ashley Heavy Runner.
There is Ashley Heavy Runner. She was a Blackfeet. She was a Blackfeet. There is Ashley Heavy Runner. She was a Blackfeet. She was a Blackfeet. And now she's gone. Grandma prays and sings a song for the girls she raised. Now she's gone where no one knows. I hear her name, the four winds blow. Where is Ashley Heavy Runner? Was a Blackfeet. She was a Blackfeet. Where is Ashley Heavy Runner? She was a Blackfeet. She was a Blackfeet. Sun comes up and the sun goes down. Another day of looking for a girl that can't be found. No. Where is Ashley Heavy Runner? She was a Blackfeet. She was a Blackfeet. Where is Ashley Heavy Runner? She was a Blackfeet. She was a Blackfeet. She might be gone, but it's not done. I'll shine a light bright as the sun. She might be gone, but hope don't end. There'll come a day when I'll see my friend. Where is Ashley Heavy Runner? She was a Blackfeet. Was a Blackfeet. Where is Ashley Heavy Runner? She
Oh, thank you very much. So it's meant to make you go, well, what's that about? Who is Ashley Haver-Runner? What's going on? So that's what we tried to do with that. We'd like to do one more.
Oh, we'll bring you back up.
Excitable. Oh,
You know, John, it's really interesting. The last 2 days I've been talking with the minister friends, and they were asking about land acknowledgements. I spent 35 years in Canada, so it's very common up there, and the whole issue of the missing women, the Trail of Tears and all that. So it's interesting you brought that in. And when we blessed this building, we did a land acknowledgement that this is land that was occupied by the fire council, the 3 tribes that kind of gathered. I mean, we didn't have boundaries if we were indigenous back then. It was more flowing. So thank you for bringing that in. I love it. Thank you, Sharon. Yes, it's a huge cause, how people can just go missing. Well, we are looking at the compassionate universe, that it's spiritually elemental. A little pun on words there. But when I think of the elements of the universe, there's certain stories, you know, how they stick out in your mind, and every time you hear it, it gives you another impression. And there's a story in the Old Testament about the prophet Elijah, and he was really wanting to get closer to God, to understand God more, to feel the presence more. So this angel's talking to him, and metaphysically we know an angel is good thoughts, those divine thoughts that we have in our mind. And the angel says, go out and stand on the mountain. Of course, a mountain would be a higher state of consciousness, right? So go out and be in that higher place just for a bit. And the story goes that Elijah went out there and God passed by, and there was this great strong wind that tore into the mountains and broke the rock into pieces before God. But God was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, but God was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire, but God was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. And you know, thinking about our world and all that's going on, you can feel the fire, the earthquakes, the strong winds, and knowing that we only really connect when we get to that point of quiet, that still small voice. But yet there's also a message in all the other stuff, the elements that are around us, the wind, the earth, the fire, all the life experiences. This too is good, this too is God. So last week we started talking about sacred earth, understanding that literally we were made from earth. Our bodies eat food that was grown because there's stuff in the earth. So literally, you know, who we are, walking mud balls. Excuse me. Now wherever we stand, this is holy ground. There's not special places we need to go. It's just about that awareness of being in that mountaintop consciousness wherever we are standing. And that the earth, think about what the earth does for us. Besides feeding us, it supports us. That's what we're standing on. And it inspires us. You know, think of looking at a majestic mountain or just landscape, even the plains. You know, there's something calming about looking just over the landscape, just really becoming appreciative of the divine and all those things. So I also realize that the elements kind of correspond to the 12 powers we talk about in Unity. We go through them a lot at Christmas time, but it's nice to bring them in just to remind you about them. Earth is kind of like our faculty of faith, which is represented by Peter, the rock. Rock is part of the earth. And in divine mind, what the idea of faith is, it's an idea, direction, a control. It's that basic grounding, if you will. And in our mind, in human mind, it's really an instrument of ours that we can develop. We can develop our faith by the way we think, by the way we live, incorporating, like Sunday isn't a place, when we come to church, we don't come together because we believe something, it's more because we live something. We want to experience it. It's not a head trip as much as it is a heart trip. And just if you're curious, the pineal gland is in the back of the head. That's where we kind of think of the center of faith. So last week I mentioned how in the early part of the Bible, it says God made man from the earth, dust of the earth, and he blew into his nostrils the breath. So there's this tie-in with earth and air. So I thought today we would look at the element of air. So we'll start out with the Air Force. Air is not the Nike movie that's out, if you've seen. Anybody, it's a great movie, by the way. But yeah, we're talking about a different kind of air. So I was going to tell you a joke about air, but it winds up being pretty thin. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it takes courage to tell these bad jokes, doesn't it? Wind turbines are popping up everywhere, but I'm not a big fan. I know you're awake now. Okay. But the quote that I came across that I really loved about air said, air is like a huge hug that goes all around the world. Isn't that nice? Can't you just visualize this huge hug of air going around our beautiful blue planet? So, how can you prove the unseen? Because we know air is here, but we can't see it, the existence of air. So that was our question this morning. What do you like to do with air? I mean, besides speaking and singing and all that. So y'all have bubbles on the table. If any moment you feel moved to prove there's air, feel free to create bubbles. Lisa did such a great job. She gets the bubbles going. So you think about air, we can see the impact of air. We see this week, when the wind blew through the east side neighborhood there, knocking over trees and stuff. The impact is seen, but the power itself isn't seen. We can't see air in front of us here. We can feel it, but we can't touch it. I remember when I was in college, I have a cousin who always did kind of crazy things. He was still in high school. And he sent me a box. And when you're in college, you get very excited to get a notice that you got a box in the mail, because what's in it? Food, right? Yeah, some kind of sweet stuff sent from home. I went down there, I got the box. It's all taped up really well, and I open it up. There's a note from Vernon saying, it's a box of Johnson City air. Oh, the thought was there. But air can be an icon, actually, for God, for the divine, for the infinite. A lot of the qualities that air has, we can really see in the divine of God itself. It brings blessings to us. It holds up birds and airplanes like magic. I mean, I still have to go through physics when I get on a plane, that the air going above is lighter than the air below. That's what lifts me up, because it doesn't seem possible. Does anybody else have trouble believing that you're flying? Yeah. I often picture this magical hand of the divine holding the plane up, and then it trips and it's alive. And air gives us a voice. It sustains us in being alive. So think about that power, that presence that sustains us, supports us in being alive. Air is just a beautiful analogy for God. And it does have a lot of spiritual meaning. We breathe, therefore it's essential to life. The divine is essential to life. I don't think we can live fully without having some inkling of some kind of mystical connection with all that is beyond us. Whatever words we want to call it, however we think about it, even an agnostic understands there's something. We may not have the word for it, we may not be able to logically explain it. And the idea of breath, in Greek, the word spiro means breath or respiration. So breath comes, from that comes inspiration. So we think the breath of God, the inspiration, the breathing in, the bringing in of the energy and bringing it back out into whatever creative form, whether it's writing music, whether it's baking a cake, whatever that might be. And back in the Greek time, though, remember all the Greek gods? I'm sure there's lots of power movies out about the Greek gods. It's like the gods in the Greek mind were filling us with divine breath. That they saw the very activity of breathing. Really close connection there. And also when you think about wind and the storm is creation. It shakes things up, it changes things. And so is that one power and one presence. When things kind of get off script, shall we say, in our life. When God did not read our script, it's that medium for a change. There's going to be a lot of changes over on the east side, Trees are down, siding is off, chimneys knocked over. It's that opportunity for change. It kind of causes the next stage of movement. So the idea of air, of our breath, it's for life, it's for communication, and it's for creation, right? It's really an essential part of everything that we do. So the element of air is our most precious possession. No matter how much gold you have, or money, or whatever the wealth is, nothing is as valuable to you as your next breath. You would give everything you have for your next breath if you thought you weren't going to have it. So think about that. That's how valuable this invisible thing is to us. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, wrote, "Air is the breath of God, symbolizing a purifying, revitalizing power that revives and makes us alive." And boy, we all know if we're stressed, take a deep breath. We're tired, take a deep breath. We know it physically feels it. It changes us. And then he says that wind is the life current that comes from within and surrounds the whole being, clearing the way to a higher state of consciousness. So the very thing that inspires us as it takes on volume and power takes us into that next stage of whatever path that we happen to be on in our consciousness. So we think about it, that we can be as grateful to God as we are to air would really help us move forward in our spiritual awakening. We are so grateful for air. Can we have that same kind of gratitude? And we're probably not grateful enough for air if you think about it. That's brought to our attention this year with all the smoke coming down. It's sometimes dangerous to breathe outside. What really makes us appreciate this thing called air. So I looked at air and our faculty, that divine power of imagination, which is on the front part of our brain. And it's represented metaphysically by Bartholomew, one of the apostles. And his name means plower, the son of the plowed. And when you plow, what is, you're breaking up the ground to make it ready for seed. When we have imagination, well, we're breaking up our wonderful logical mind and making way for new ideas, right? If we get into a rut, there are no new ideas because we reject everything else. We want to leave that open for expansion. So in divine mind, it's the absolute idea of conception, the beginning of something, that very moment of the unformed ether starting to take form, if you will, until it comes to the human mind and pops up as a thought. So if you think about imagination in our mind, there's nothing that exists today that is man-made that did not begin in the imagination. Wow. And people go, oh, it's only my imagination. Thank God it's your imagination. That's how we got tables, chairs, cars, you name it, all those things. So we give shape and form to the invisible through the imagination. It's a wonderful power that we're able to see beyond what is into something that can be. Does that make sense? Like, just think if we could not imagine. How would we even move out of our chair if we couldn't imagine being in the kitchen? You know, if we couldn't imagine, a garden growing, would we ever plant seeds? Think about I was thinking the other day about, we've been planting a lot of trees out here, and I know in my lifetime they're not going to be 50 years old. But I can imagine, I see them out there and I see them huge, and I can see somebody walking by and going, wow, look at that magnificent tree. And thinking back to who planted it on that imagination that we have. Well, Albert Einstein was a big fan of the imagination. He said imagination is everything. It's a preview of life's coming attractions. Isn't that a great idea, our imagination? Yeah. He says imagination is more important than knowledge. Now, this is Albert Einstein, arguably one of the most brilliant men of his time, saying that imagination was more important than everything he knew. Because he knew, he came up with new ideas. If he couldn't imagine something different, we never would have had some of his theories and stuff. He was willing to go beyond the known. So I have a picture up here of a miner and a canary. And when they were mining for coal, they would go down, sometimes there were gases down there, so they put a canary down there. And the canary was a warning that the air was getting bad. If the canary stopped singing, if the canary fell over dead, get out of there fast. But I'm thinking about with air and this whole idea of our imagination, that we each have our own canaries that we run out there to test to see if this is a toxic realm of creation that we're going into. We have our own canaries for things that we do in our life as that early warning that sometimes it's just that it doesn't feel right, right? Sometimes because we're not getting the doesn't feel right, real blocks come in our way. They go, geez, this should be easy. Why do I have to keep getting stopped on this? We have our own safety guardrails for that we're co-creating in our life. So Aesop's fable, I love Aesop's fable. He just tells some wonderful stories. And this one story is about a man and a satyr. A satyr is half man, half horse. And they're sitting at a table talking. And the man is sitting there, and he starts going like this. He goes, satyr says, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, I'm warming my hand. My hands are a little cold. Warming my hand." He goes, "Okay." A little while later, they get some soup delivered to their table, and the man picks up a spoon, and he goes, satyr says, "What are you doing?" He says, "Oh, I'm blowing on the soup to cool it off." Satyr goes, "I can't be friends with you, somebody whose breath can blow hot and cold." It's the same way with imagination. Our imagination can blow hot or cold. There's not a parent alive who has not misused imagination on the night their kids were late coming home. Right? I mean, we have this. During COVID, it was a real test of our imagination, to imagine what it would be even like to go out around with people again. So if you think about this power within us of imagination, and think about this element in which we live and move and have our being called air. It's so easy to see the connection between the unseen that is also so all-powerful, right? In which we live and move and have our being, what we imagine, what we bring into manifestation. Imagination can blow hot or cold. So another way of tying in the divine with air might be to respect the power of God as we respect air. Like, we really respect what air can do. When you're building things, thinking about wind resistance or a boat, if you want to use the wind to your power, we really respect the power that it has. The same way with divine, there are laws within our universe. And if we respect those laws, we get to use them for ourselves. What we focus on grows. We know those very simple things, that we are all one. So if I do something that is toxic, that puts toxicness into the consciousness of humanity. So breath also, I thought of the power of power, the faculty of power. The faculty of power is in our throat chakra here. And it's represented by the apostle Philip, which means lover of horses. And so the idea of power is you harness the power that's around you. Like if you ride a horse, you're harnessing this great power of the horse. And, you know, there's several creation stories in the Bible, and lots of creation stories in all different world religions. But in John it says, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And what is the Word but that vibration of air coming out of us? That by power that we have by speaking, and even more so when we sing. I mean, it's tangible to me every Sunday morning we come together, and it's all kind of scattered energy, and then we sing together. And then by the time we get to the second song, it's like we're in a rowing team, all rowing together, right? Different strengths perhaps, but we're in sync. We're just making that beautiful music. So in the absolute idea, divine mind, this idea of power is an idea in motion. That when in our mind, it's like our ability to start something, to say that word, we have the faculty, the gift to be able to begin things. So the idea of power and imagination really tie in together, because to imagine something and not do anything with it, it's like poking a balloon, letting the air out, it goes away. But when we tie those together and able to imagine something more kind, more loving, more focused, and then do something about it, there's kind of a motion that starts, like that wind starts building up into creation. About 200 years ago, there was a woman teaching a class, and she needed a little downtime. So she said to the students, I want you to add up all the numbers from 1 to 100. Figure this would keep them busy for a few minutes, and she'd go outside and take a breath, distress, right? One-room schoolhouse. Well, all of a sudden, in just a couple of minutes, this one little boy had the answer, 550. And she says, how did you do that? And he said, well, I thought, there must be a shortcut to doing this. That's a lot of numbers to add up. If I add 101, I get 101. If I add 99 and 2, I get 101. If I add 98 and 3, I get 101. So I figured if I did that 50 times and added them up, I'd have the answer. See? Wow. His name was Carl Friedrich Gauss, and though he's not necessarily known for specific things, he did huge things to advance science and mathematics and physics and theories, because he was always looking at what if? What if there is an easier way to do this? What if there is another way of doing this? To me, this is like being driven by the Holy Spirit, like the wind. Like we have these ideas that come into our mind that we throw away. So many times it's so easy to stay in the rut of life, the same path of life, as opposed to saying, what if? What if there is an easier way of doing this? You know, to explore it. What if I could be driven by those ideas, that excitement, the breath, the power, the imagination, to do those things in my life that are mine to do? And in the Bible, there's lots of stories about wind. The one that I can always see in my mind, thank you, Charlton Heston, is when he's playing Moses and they're coming up to the Red Sea and the wind blows and blows the waters apart so they have a safe way to pass. But even in the New Testament, Jesus is out with his buddies, they're out there fishing and the seas come up and churning, and he rebukes the wind and says to the sea, "Peace, be still." Just a reminder that with the divine order of things, it's not like there is a God puppet up there doing things, but we are part of that series of laws, part of that flow, and we can set our parameters. This is going a little too fast for me. I need to slow it down a bit. Peace, be still. Take a deep breath, and there we are. So, breath and air is really evident in all the faith traditions. You see different things, like in Hinduism, they talk about prana, the force of life going through our body. In the Judeo-Christian, we talk about the breath of life. You see that in scriptures all through there. Indigenous people, thinking about air and filling us with spirit energy for good. Like, isn't it just such a sacredness to it and such a respect to it from all the major religions? The Greek gods had 4 winds that they gave each wind a different god, in their structure. And I think of yoga and fire breathing and what a great healing quality that is within our body. There's evidence of this great respect, this great participation in all faith religions with this thing called breath and air. And so another practice with this is to breathe in prayer like we breathe in air. And we have a song we sing of Lucille's, "Every thought is a prayer." Think about every breath being a prayer. That this too is God, this too is good, this too is creative. And we have this incredible faculty to be able to make a difference in our world, to take care of those things like the indigenous women that are missing, to write a song to raise that awareness, to bring that vibration of awareness, of light, of caring, of oneness back into our consciousness. The air has a cycle all around the planet. This big hug is always in motion. It's clean and pure, and then we put these particulates in it, and the air is always trying to even out, to become a homeostasis. Like if there's hot spots and cold spots, that's what causes the weather patterns. As we heat up in different spots, it wants to even it out. The same way with the particulates like coming in from the fire. And so we have these things like hurricanes that happen, which cleanse the air and help reestablish a more even temperature. But the wind, whether it's a gale force wind or just that constant little stream, I think about, if you go up in North Dakota, it's like the Grand Canyon but above the ground. Do you know what I mean? There's these big arches, and that was all just a little bit of wind going through at the time. There's this great power there, but it was constant, just constant shaping and forming as it goes through. So if you think about it, this whole cycle of air is like the cycle of our own consciousness, with our imagination, with the power that we have by speaking potential into words to bring it into formation. But we do get smog. We do get that pollution, those particulates in our mind. So we need to do something to make that change, to allow that to clean out and go forward and change our thinking to what we really want. So what we imagine and what we speak, we know increases. This is a basic law of the universe. And the saints, if you're a Catholic, You may recognize some of these names. St. Francis, who most of us know, because he was a saint of animals, right? He said, be praised through brothers, wind and air, clouds and storms, and all weather through which you have your creative substance. And another saint, John Chrysostom, he said the whole air is filled with angels. Like he saw the air as just being divine, filled with that vibration of God itself. And St. Francis de Sales, let God be the air in which your heart breathes at ease. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful prayer? Let God be the air in which your heart breathes at ease. So praising air like the saints, understanding that every breath truly is divine, truly is a blessed event. Air is an icon for God, so we are grateful for this element called air, for the omnipresence. We respect the omnipotence, the power of air, the power of the infinite, of God itself. We are driven by the knowledge, it's like driven by the wind, that we have all that knowledge within our imagination. We have access to things that are not even known yet to bring forward into fruition. And that we breathe in prayer like we breathe in air. Because what is prayer but that binding love connection between each and every one of us? And we join the saints in praising air. So we're standing on holy ground. We're breathing in sacred breath. Sounds like time for meditation.
Up from my feet, I call the healing power. Up from my feet, I draw it to my heart. It's already here. I only need to claim it. Up from my feet, I know that I am in through my hands, I call the healing power. In through my hands, I draw it to my heart. It's already here. I only need to claim it. In through my hands, I know that I am down from my head, I call the healing power. Down from my head, I draw it to my heart. It's already here. I only need to claim it. Down from my head, I know that I am healed.
I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Just become conscious of your breath. That infinite miracle that is taking place in you in this very moment, repeating so many times in the day and in our lifetime. This too is good, this too is God. This too is part of the infinite. As we become present and conscious to our breath, a wonderful thing happens to our bodies. It facilitates relaxing into this moment. It empowers us to release those things which no longer serve us. It revitalizes the growth and life of every cell of our body. And as we exhale that breath, we allow the body to cleanse itself. What a wonder. Just because it is a necessity does not make it any less precious. just because it repeats does not dim the mystical quality of this miracle called life. It's been said that to become human, one must make room in oneself for the immensities of the universe. And so with each breath, let us make room within for the immensities of our beloved, delightful universe. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Feeling the love and filling with love so that we might be the love of the universe. And so it is.
With my spirit and soul, I call the healing power. With my spirit and soul, I draw it to my heart. It's already here. I only need to claim it. With my spirit and soul, I know that I am up from the earth. I call the healing power. Up from the earth, I draw it to my heart. It's already here. I only need to claim it. Up from the earth, I know that I am back to the earth. I send the healing power back to the earth. I send it from my heart. It's already here. I only need to claim it. Back to the earth. I know that I am healed.
Thank you, Greg. What a perfect day to have a flute here. Hearing the flute like the wind go through here. So, could you hear that? Did you notice something different in the music? Yeah, the subtleness, the mystical part of air. So, this week, just think, what if when you took your first breath, you contemplated that breath as taking the divine and releasing anything less? This is a real simple practice. You're awake and you breathe. It becomes your prayer, right? How easy is that? Or just blow bubbles if you can't remember to do that. So there's bubbles on the table. I hope you take them with you and have some fun playing with that. I'm going to invite John to come back so he can shake up the air a little bit more with his music.
And again, I'd like to say thank you, Reverend Sharon, and thank you for the Unity Church for having me here. And thank you all, this merry band over here. I'd like to finish my part with another song, and this is a song off the new record that has Ashley. If anybody wants one, we have some after the show.
Hurry in my say. Ain't gonna worry, 'cause we'll get there. Tell you the story when we get there. Ain't got time for circling the wagons round. Ain't got time for that lying politician sound. Ain't gonna worry, 'cause we'll get there. Tell you the story when we get there. How far would you go? Rock and roll.
You know how far I'll go.
How far would you go to save your soul? Gonna lie, my back's against the wall. Ain't gonna cry, 'cause I can hear me a higher call. Ain't gonna worry, 'cause we'll get there. Tell you the story when we get there. Oh, help me out. For the Canadians. Hey, help us out. And if we try, you see, I would try for you if you would try for me. And together, if we work together, and if we try together, we could change the world. Sing it with us. We could change the world. We could change the world. We could change the world. We could change the world.
Thank you all very much, Unity. Everybody have a great day.
Yeah, I was thinking, we're always changing the world, John. Just let's change it for the better. Okay. We are always in a state of experimenting and morphing and trying. So We begin the service with prayer, and we actually end it with prayer. The Sacred Exchange Love Offering is actually another prayerful form, and we've been experimenting the best way to have everybody have that experience. So, this month we started passing bags. We haven't done bags for a couple years. And so this week we're going to try starting bags at each end, and when the bag comes to your table, you pass it around and pass it over to the next table. If you're not close to the next table, an usher can help you. But we want you to have that experience of what it is to be in that circle of generosity. And the bags will meet in the middle, and then we'll bring them up here to bless them. Now, on the table, there's a little bowl that last week had dirt in it, and poof, now they're affirmation coins. And if you want one, you're welcome to take one. But not all of us give during service. Sometimes we give online. Sometimes we get paid once a month or whatever. But we'd like you to participate in the act of giving and receiving. So if you like to, you can take one of the coins, you put it in your hand, and bless it with love when we're blessing our gifts. Does that make sense? Now, also, when we're using bags, if you have a prayer request, you can put them in the offering bag. Because, see, this is all part of prayer. And actually, to make it convenient, if you have a connection card to get on our mailing list or whatever, you can also put that in there. So what we're doing right now, the love offering part, is not the cost of the service. It is a prayer experience of prosperity and the flow. With that, I'm going to turn it over to my man, Chris.
Okay. Thanks, Dan. So let us take a moment to deeply immerse ourselves in gratitude by collectively blessing the gifts received. Given in love, am I off? Okay. Given in love, received in love. Okay. Pardon? Got it. Yep. Yeah, love is. All right, here we go. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I praise, give thanks, and am glad.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. One more time. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Let us take a moment to deeply immerse ourselves in gratitude. We really are. But that's all right. What do you want me to do? Never liked paperwork.
Okay. Okay.
I
There,
think,
that's the next one.
okay. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Mom. So here we go. We are grateful for everyone's continued generosity of support of Unity through many channels, electronically, by mail, and in person. One of the ways we show that gratitude is by sharing of our gifts with others. For the third quarter of 2023, we are sharing a portion of our tithe with the Justice League of Greater Lansing for their work on faith-based reparations, and the JAX Project, which helps care for pets when their owners are unable because of illness. Now, and the announcements, or? Nope, the thing we started with. Okay, right here?
Yep, here we
Oh,
are.
here we go. So now, third time's a charm. Let us take a moment to deeply immerse ourselves in gratitude by collectively blessing the gifts received. Given in love, received in love, we dedicate these gifts to do the will and the work of Holy Spirit. And so it is. Amen. And I got it. For information on all events happening at Unity, check the Unity newsletter. Nope. Am I? Nope.
Look what's on the sign. You know what, today there's euchre and games.
Okay. Where? Well, yeah, there is game day today.
There we go.
Okay. Oh. Okay, so today at noon is our third Sunday of the month, euchre and game day. This is a self-organizing event open to everyone.
Okay, now.
Now, for information on all events happening at Unity, check the Unity newsletter on the tables, the posters on the information rack, or our website, unitylansing.org.
Hey, this is a good time for the thing we say that says, we're not a mistake-free church, but we're a blame-free church.
Where's that written? Yeah. All right. There you go. So, we're into the peace song, and then the prayer of protection.
Okay, so please rise as you are able, and form a peace circle around the congregation, around the sanctuary, and let's join together in the peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God is within us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.